Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the last session of our journey in advanced strategic management. So, in the process, we were discussing the strategic enablers. We have understood how IT, the technology, knowledge management could prove themselves as one of the important ingredients of carrying out the strategic advantage of the organizations. And in the process, today we are going to discuss innovation and creativity as the other aspects which is so important that the organizational aspects cannot run without that. So, like we have witnessed the revolutions in the industry, and nowadays we do talk of industrial revolution 4.0, and this industrial revolution 4.0 is characterized by change at a very acceleration phase. So it's a very rapid rate of change, I'd say. And whenever we are talking of this change and adapting organizations with this change process requires new knowledge, new idea. They need to generate these ideas in a very rapid way. And that is where we come across with the importance of innovations and creativity for the organizations at the present time. So let us understand what these innovations and creativity means to us. What are the factors we need to take into consideration when it comes to innovations and creativity? How these innovations and creativity are going to be implemented in the organization? What are the benefits out of that? All of these are to be discussed in this particular session. So let's start with an insight into the term creativity. Now, when we talk of this creativity, we understand that it is some kind of intellectual activity which normally generates new solutions, new insights into the problems itself. Now, there's a very generic purview of the statement, right? But whenever we are talking of this creativity, creativity or the analysis of the term creativity differs in different contextual factors. When we talk of these individuals, creativity refers to the intellectual ability of the individuals. Whenever we are referring to, say, products or services, the different kind of qualities, the outcomes is creativity. So the term creativity is highly contextual. It can vary as per the requirement of the situation. So for our purpose, we are referring to organizations. So we are referring creativity in terms of organization, which is understood as the generation of new, useful, valuable ideas for the process of production. So these ideas are inculcated in the products, the services, the processes, the procedures, which takes these individuals and groups in specific organizational context. So the way we come out with new ideas, new thought processes, new knowledge, and implement it for improvement in the existing product, service, or process dimensions of the organization is creativity itself. Even if this creativity and innovations are used interchangeably, but there are differences whenever we talk of this creativity and innovations. Understanding innovation is the implementation of the idea for the new product or service itself, where creativity generates the ideas, innovations implement that. So innovations most of the time is regarded as something new, which leads to the change process. That's it. So generation of new ideas may not always lead to the desired level of outcome. Maybe, like we to talk of change in the timing schedule of the organization, considering the heat waves. So this may be a new idea to help individual employees to coping with those kind of environmental strains, but it is not treated as a innovation. Right? So that doesn't mean that any new kind of thing will lead towards innovations itself. Right? Innovations can also be like intangible. Right? So it describes the attitude of the business itself to see the present and based on that create a future itself. So requirements based on the external environmental factors, all of those things. Right? One of the important significance of this innovation is the impact that the culture has on the process itself. Culture is something which is commonly accepted by all the members of the organization. So if I'm thinking of creating an innovative culture in the organization, I have to involve all the people associated with the organization. All the people must contribute their best towards the organization. So implementation of ideas for restructuring, saving cost, improved communication, technological adaptations, production processes, new structures, new personnel plans, programs, etc., etc. All of those are a part of the innovative approach that the organizations will take. But as I said, that not all may lead to the desired result, so we have to be highly specific in terms of our terms like creativity and innovation in relation to the context. That is what we need to understand. So whenever we're talking of this creativity and innovations, of course, this creativity and innovations involves a lot of risk. What makes these organizations not to comply with the requirements of creativity and innovation? You're trying with the generation of new ideas, you're trying with the generation of new thought processes. So in the process, what we are doing is that we are experimenting on the things. So there will always be a risk of failure. And to what extent that risk can be tolerated in the organization, that is what is the thing that we need to take into consideration. Innovations and creativity requires aggressive investments, and not only that requires the commitment of the people who are going to implement that, but at the same time we are thinking of the commitment of the top level management of the organization in providing all due support for creating that innovative culture. And organizational culture is what that has to be promoted. Innovative culture has to be promoted. All the members of the organization should strive to the innovation. Right? We need to create a conducive environment where this generation of knowledge, ideas can be considered. So here we need to think of an environment where all these innovations and creativities are fostered. So let us understand what are the basic factors that leads to the innovations and creativities in the organization. And in the process, we need to come out with strategy as one of the leading factors. We have already understood that strategy is all about a process of setting goals and to find out the means by which those goals can be accomplished in the organization. We have understood strategy as the end means change. Right? So whenever we are talking of this strategic intent of the organization, it is always addressing the gap between the present state of existence to the future state of existence. Gap between what we have to what we need to have. Strategies involved like any such process of the organization which will lead the organization towards its ultimate goals. May it be starting from the production or may it be based on the customer requirements, market orientation, etc., etc. So the way we promote or link the strategic intent of the organization with the processes of the organization, that requires an innovative approach, creative approach to meet the requirements. So organizations vision and mission are shared with each and every employee of the organization, and that is why they do foster this creativity and innovation to help the organization reaching at its ultimate goal. Other factors, other factors like what promotes this creativity and innovation is the structure, organizational structure. Right. Most of the time, we do say that we witnessed many such kind of changes in the organizational structures itself, starting from a very traditional line staff matrix kind of organizations to very flexible, and virtual organizations. You have understood all of those things. So it is normally believed that whenever we're talking of these flat structures, which provides more autonomy to the process, more creativity to the process, making the organizations more supportive towards innovations. Similarly, if you talk of this, highly specialized organizations, highly formal organizations, where centralization is there, standardization is there, those kind of organizations actually hinders the process of innovation. So here are the detailed list of the factors which actually promotes or hinders the innovation, right? Like we can discuss the factors which really promotes the innovation is like the freedom from rules and regulations. I'm not talking of these organizations to completely elevate the rules, but rules and regulations have to be standardized to the optimal level, right? Organizations must foster this participative, informal, face-to-face communication, right? Which will ultimately end up with this red tapeism in the organization. Interdisciplinary teams, breaking down all those departmental barriers. Basically, what we can do is that we can promote an organization which is characterized as non-hierarchical. Non-hierarchical. Right? And this non-hierarchical structure, I'm talking of a flexible structure, not a rigid one, right? Will help the individual organizations to overcome communication barriers. Here we are talking of this communication like being taken into consideration in both the ways, upward to downward, downward to upward, right? So flow upward or downward, that will help the organization to understand the feedbacks from the bottom level of the organization, and based on that we're talking of the basic aspects of policy making. Non-hierarchical structures provides autonomy. Non-hierarchical structure promotes decentralization, delegation of authority, so decision-making process is decentralized to the bottom level of organization, right? Because the present day demands the organizational decisions to be quick and flexible. That is what, right? So by minimizing the bureaucracies associated with the organizational structure, we can promote this creativity and innovation. Whereas in certain cases, this creativity and innovations are also hampered with this organizational structure, which is more rigid, more static. So rigid departmental functions, highly specialized functions, hierarchical organizations, bureaucratic organizations, that you're not free. You have to operate with many such kind of rules and regulations. Formal reporting systems, decision chain, which is very long, slow decision making process, individual freedom of action will not be there, communication through written words, right? no face-to-face communication, right? And information flow is directive. So these kind of structural aspects of the organization actually hinders the innovation. What is required is that whenever we are talking of these innovations, a free environment, right? Autonomy, process of authority, all of those things can really contribute. So beyond these factors, this autonomy, this creativity and innovation are also supported by many such mechanisms itself. We say these support mechanisms which promotes creativity and innovation includes first and foremost thing that is the reward and recognitions. As if we have understood in our previous class knowledge management, which is confined to the minds of the people itself, we need to protect that, we need to store that so that this knowledge transfer can be possible. It's the people of the organization who are responsible for bringing any such kind of thing happen. So whenever I'm thinking of creativity, innovative approach, this rewards and recognitions play a very important role as a motivator to the employees of the organization. Most of the time, right, organizations want their employees to be creative, to take risk, but at the same time, these people of the organizations, they are rewarded for the trusted methods, the traditional methods, orthodox approaches, right? What these organizations to believe is fault free. But isn't it contradictory? At one point of time, we promote the individual employees to take risk, the other, we are highly calculative in terms of the risk. Reinforcement theory says we must promote a desirable behavior and eliminate an undesirable behavior. So if I'm having an objective of creating an innovative culture in my organization, so any such of new ideas generated, any such of new things is being considered for the organization, that should be rewarded. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, people will not be motivated enough. We say, unless and until you experiment with certain things, unless and until you take risk or you generate ideas, your organization will be static. So that is why we come up with the basic dimensions of an organizational culture related to this rewards and recognitions to be one of the deciding factors. What it says, the new ideas, new thought processes generated in the organization should be valued, should be rewarded. Right? Attention and support of the top management in promoting this creativity in the organization. Right? Respect for new ideas, celebration of accomplishments, like any such small accomplishment can also be celebrated within the department so that each and every individual member can be motivated for that. Implementation of suggestions, encouragement, all of those things can be rewarded or can be linked with the reward system, the performance management system, so that proper recognition can be there and people will voluntarily start contributing towards the objective. That is organization's culture as a factor which promotes creativity and innovation, of course. Like whenever we are talking of the culture of the organization, one of the important factors that we need to take into consideration is that the time that employees of the organization can devote towards the implementation of culture itself in the organization, right? So we can promote the organization's culture of devoting, say, half an hour in creative thinking. But imagine a situation where organizations have gone for downsizing, and each and every employee being there in the organization are overburdened 3 times. So would you find it possible for you to promote a community culture? Not possible, right? Similarly, we are thinking of information technology as another one important resource for the organizations, right? Information technology, in essence, if at all not there, has to be developed with the learning and development processes, right? And finally, this innovative approaches, creativity approaches are individual level practices. So we need to recruit. We need to recruit people who are well versed with this innovative and creativity processes. We need to select them, appoint them, maintain them. All of these processes are related with the individuals who contribute for the organization itself, support. We say nowadays we are talking of the basic behavioral dimensions that encourages this innovation. We're talking about these values and norms. Say, for example, as if we have discussed that, if we're talking of innovative approach, then there will be risk. There will be challenges in implementing that particular thing. Right? But whenever you're taking that risk, always there is a probability that you'll end up with some kind of mistakes of it. So how these mistakes conducted by the employees in the organization in the process of implementing these innovative approaches are perceived. The mistake that the employees do carry out during the time of their involvement either can be ignored or can be punished or can have a better learning approach. So what is my role over there? That is what we need to understand. Whether it is punished or ignored or being taken as a learning opportunity. How do the organizations do take success and failure factors? Success we can understand, but will that be enough if we'll have success only once in the organization? It has to be a continuous process. Similarly, if you're talking of this, failures itself, it may be time consuming, but we need to learn and modify our processes. So what is required is to have a better communication, open communication. Right? We said that this has to be there with the open system of communication that takes place between the employees of the organization and the top level, right? So open door communication, anyone, like open suggestion box kind of thing, anyone can suggest anything to the management, right? We are talking of this leadership. Success or failures are somehow critical, but in the absence of the leaders, it will be directionless. We understand these leaders are the people who actually create that mindset among the workers. And Leaders are the people who take up the challenge to a further developed course of action. That is why we to come out with the role of a leader. So whenever we are talking of this leader, the leader need to sense the environmental context. Leader need to accept and at the same time deal with these ambiguities in the organization. We're talking of that, right? So it's the leader's role is to nurture to develop the employees of the organization on a long run. That is why we come up with the basic role of leadership in the organization. So we say leaders play a highly significant role in the organizations. Moving further, let us understand what are the basic characteristics that these organizations do have. So characteristics means that distinguishes these organizations from another. Right? So in like with this innovation and creativity, the basic characters are like the support and the commitment of the top management in terms of the financial and emotional support to innovations. Top management to ensure that this realistic and accurate assessment of the market is being conducted. Right kind of assessment of the industries, the demand, the products, the services, all of those things should be taken into consideration, right? We say these innovation projects, they require the support of all the members in the organization. So each and every stakeholder of the organization must contribute towards the innovation or establishment of innovative and creative culture itself. We're thinking of a structural, a methodological, a systematic approach, right? For the screening of those newly generated ideas prior to the implementation of that. It means what? It has to be tested before being launched in the market. These are some of the typical characteristics that innovation and creativity has. Now, some practical steps that we need to take into consideration. As we discussed, new ideas will generate this. New ideas will lead to risks and failures itself. Whenever you to come out with the failure, now people to develop fear psychosis within themselves. So if I'm running a business where this failure is being punished, the organization cannot be innovative. So experimentation, coming out with new things, new ideas, all of those can be possible in a very informal environment. That's what. Innovation should be a part of the performance review system. Like we evaluate performance on the basis of theories, situational theories, personality theories. But to what extent these organizations are contributing for the organization's goal through different sort of innovative and creative practices, that has to be part of the evaluation process. Right? Document the innovation process and ensure that it is reaching to all the employees of the organization, right? Helping each and every member of the organization to understand that. That's right? This is enough that loosens into the system and people explore this possibility and collaboration with others inside and outside itself. So we need to have our own autonomy to carry out a particular task. It's not just about no, the rigid structures, no, which will make the employees, no, pertinent to a particular process, a particular methodology, right? But having a loose environment makes this, more feasible. That's what we understand, right? Everyone understands this corporate policy because we started it from the vision and mission of the organization. So unless and until each and every member of the organization ensures that they are well accustomed with the vision and mission statement, they cannot, align themselves with the requirement. Nowadays, we do talk much of DEIs, right? Diversity, ethical practices, and inclusions. And whenever we are talking of this diversity, actually, this diversity as a corporate strategy can accomplish the same objectives. So here what is required is that you need to understand, scan the environment, find out the different sort of factors which are going to affect these organizations. Think of diversity because that is a good criteria for focusing on ideation, right? You need to think of innovative teams to be implemented over there. But one thing is that this innovative teams should not be a part of the regular project because that will hinder their performance labels itself. Right? So these are the things that we need to understand before we are going for a systematic approach towards this creativity and innovations, right? Coming to some of the basic characteristics, other characteristics. We say, organizations nowadays, as if we have understood, operates in flatter structures, in taller structures. Based on that, the innovation processes of the organization are facilitated. What we need to understand is that whenever we talk of certain cultural values like flexibility, freedom, cooperative teamwork, all of those can lead to a positive implementation of strategy. But whenever I'm talking of rigidity, control, predictability, stability, all of those things may lead to weaker impact on the said processes. Right? So autonomy means we are defining a control over the means as well as the ends. This is a strategic content, right? Where we are talking of this autonomy can be there for two ways. Strategic autonomy. Here, the employees get the freedom to set their own agenda. And operational autonomy, the feedback is to attack a particular problem once it has been set by the organization, right? So it is determined by the individual self. For successful implementation of organizational policies, most of the organizations around the globe, they keep the strategic autonomy at their own hand and operational autonomies are being decentralized. Reason is that if operational autonomy will be decentralized, or strategic autonomy can be decentralized, and when people do have a choice of making their own goals, these organizations may lead to lower innovative and creativity practices. That is why this you know, strategic autonomy is being kept at the organizational level, maybe at the senior management level, and operational autonomy is being decentralized to the bottom itself. Sometimes we do come out with this personal recognition system, personal recognition like the rewards systems that each and every individual is motivated for. Like we are talking of this intrinsic and extrinsic factors. What can actually motivate people? Intrinsic factors or extrinsic factors? Hasberg's two-factor theory refers division of these factors into two factors. One is Heisen factors, the other one is motivators. Whenever we're talking of this, wages, salaries, incentives, bonus, all those factors which are not related to the individual, but the individuals are associated with those, right? Those factors will be extrinsic factors. Individual recognitions, promotions, rewarding, all of those things which are related to the concerned individual are intrinsic factors. Okay. Or we can say like intrinsic factors are the factors which actually promotes the individuals to be motivated. We say individual members are motivated by intrinsic factors. That removes the level of dissatisfaction and promotes satisfaction. Right? We are thinking of socio-technical systems. Socio-technical systems is nowadays organizations need to have a watch for both the technical side as well as the social side of the organizations. So equal emphasis each given, right? So what is required is that you need to nurture these technological abilities, right? And at the same time, you need to develop a sense of sharing. Most of the time we say this recognition system is what that makes this organization's human resources drive towards the innovative practices. That's what we need to understand. Right? Continuity in terms of Slack. Actually, Slack is a cushion of resources which is there between this internal and external pressure. Right? So, it is observed that any organization where this slack has not been corrected, right? They are correlated with the innovation itself, right? So disruption of the slack, discontinuation with the slab itself in past may hamper the innovative practices. That is why importance is given on this. Coming to the individual and group level of characteristics of innovation, like stable and secure internal environment, open channels of communication, outside contact, idea unit free and other responsibility, heterogeneous personnel policies, investments in basic research, decentralization, diversification, risk taking, not run as a tight ship. Like all of those things are the basic characteristics of the innovations and organizations in the organization. However, coming back to the personal aspects or individual aspects that leads to this innovative culture, like high value of aesthetic qualities and experiences, broad interests and attraction of complexities itself, high energy and self-confidence, independence of judgment, intuitions, ability to accommodate opposites, sense of self as a creative person or form, persistent and curiosity, intellectual honesty, internal locus of control. We need to understand, like the theory of attribution. What it says, people attribute the cause of their failure to others, cause of the success to themselves. Fundamental attribution error is what we to talk of, right? So all those people who make themselves responsible for the uh, themselves responsible for any kind of success or failure, they are called as internal locus of control. And people who make others responsible for their success and failure are externals, having external locus of control. So here, whenever we are talking of this personality traits that stands as a basic factor, you know, deals with the individual traits of the people itself. Sometimes, okay, these traits can be developed over a period of time, but sometimes, this cognitive factors also responsible for innovations. As such, would you say that our brain has got its own functions, right? Would you say this cerebral cortex, that is rational thinking, and that is present in the left cerebral, and whenever we are talking of intuitions being present over there in the right brain. So rational thinking coordinates to left brain activities, intuitions right brain activities. What is required is that all of those things needed to be collaborated with one another. Similarly, another one reason which makes this individuals tuned to the factors of creativity and innovative is their personal motivational aspects. We will talk of this intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. What motivates people? Right? Like we do talk of theory X and Y. There are X category of people and Y category of people. X category of people are more, they don't like to take responsibilities. They don't like to, take the leadership position. X category of employees avoid the workplaces, avoid the work. They don't take up responsibilities. So X categories of people needs to be pushed to do a particular thing. But whenever we are talking of Y category of people, right, they are just the opposite of X category of people, right? They seek responsibilities, they perform beyond their limitations, they take up the challenges, they come out with all those other aspects of the organization, right? So what we need to understand is that if I do have X category of people in my organization, they will be more motivated by the extrinsic factors. But if I do have Y category of people in my organization, they will be more motivated by the intrinsic factors. So based on the requirements, we need to come out with a particular factor itself, right? We do talk of challenging individuals, conscientious people. Who are these conscientious people? The people who challenge themselves for anything, right? Who challenge themselves for anything. So those are the people who are successful. Those are the people who are more keen for innovations and creativities, finding out new ways of doing a particular thing. All of those things, right? We are talking of another one factor we can say, Pygmalion effect. More the expectations that you do have from the people, more will the performance. Less the expectations that you have from the people, less will be the performance itself. So always have a right assessment of the capabilities of the people itself and provide them a challenging job opportunity. And right, people will be motivated enough to implement creativity and innovative aspects. Similarly, skill and knowledge are the other dimensions, right, of this motivation. Okay? These are some of the qualities that people do have, or innovators do have. Right? Just people who can challenge status quo, curious, self-motivated, visionary, like entertains the fantastic one, takes risks, therapeutic, flexible, reflective, recognize patterns, tolerate ambiguity, balances intuitions and analysis, firmly articulated, resilient, preserving. These are some of the qualities that innovators do have. But what we need to understand is the basic, step by step process of promoting this creativity itself. Let's start with the first stage is the preparation stage itself. Preparation stage is you need to gather information, you need to sort those information, integration of the information should be there, right? So all of those other materials which to be provided as a solid base for a particular breakthrough. So gathering, organizing, sorting, and integrating all those pieces of information is the first step, what we call it as the preparation stage of any information, right? Incubation stage, here the mind is not consciously focused on the problems, right? We said that this incubation phase is a phase where, if people are not involved, right? If they're not involved, then, they can be relaxed, they can be laid back, they can sleep, right? So what is required is that make the people involved in the process. Third stage is insight stage, right? So all of a sudden there is a jump from incubation stage to the third stage, like in terms of the movement of the employees. In incubation stage, where we do see that the employees are quite relaxed, happy, tuned to the system in, right? And in insight phase, all of a sudden they become active to take up the challenges, right? Which can end up in the verification phase itself. So before we implement any kind of new ideas or new thought processes, new things through the creativity or through innovations, that has to be properly checked, verified before implementing the same, right? To avoid the problems associated with that. Now, how can we enhance our creativity? what are the ways by which we can enhance the creativity is the thing that we are going to understand. One of the simplest way, I'm telling you, to promote this creativity is when you have creativity, it is your responsibility to nurture that, develop that, so that they can contribute as per the way. But if you don't have the existing resources, what is required is that you hire creative people, right? Then you apply the creative techniques, make them learn those techniques, and develop this creative organizations at large. So either to nurture or to acquire. That is the decision that we need to take. However, some of the other models, like which promotes this creativity, is very important. The concept given by William J. Jordan. This is the synetics. Synetics is where different people they put together, right, to get the real diversity perspectives. Here, people from different genetic groups, right? That is what. And not only that, this diversity of the people will bring newness to the organization. There will be entry of new blood in the organization, but most of the time, this synetics are based on the analysis. So we come across with three different kind of analysis: direct analogy, personal, and fantasy analogy. Like in direct analogy, we are looking for the facts, knowledge, technology, right, in a particular domain which is different from the domain where we are working. So challenging each and every thing, like whatever I'm doing now, I can imagine the same kind of situation, right, in a completely different environment. That is what. Process analysis is here the group members act in terms of their psychological connotations, right? Whatever the problem that is being ventilated to the synetic group, people think it in a different way altogether with their own psychological thought processes being involved on that. We're talking about this fantasy analogy. Fantasy analogy represents to have the wildest possible kind of thoughts and solutions. So it is it has to be beyond the imagination. Those kind of solutions that we need to have. Right? So with the basic aspect of Jordan, right? All these synthetics can lead to higher creativity and innovativeness. We are talking of another one important checklist for idea generation is the scamper, right? It is about asking a series of questions about how we might use something that we already have. How differently we can use a particular thing, what we already have. Like answering, is there a substitute to my existing practices and existing product? If yes, who else can be a substitute to the existing practice and product? What else could be a substitute to that? Is there another approach? Is there another way of doing that particular thing? Could that be a substitute to my existing processes? So these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves before going for any kind of treatment. Whenever we're talking of processes, we say, can there be a combined process? Can there be a blending of the existing processes to define a new process, completely new process? So that has to be adapting. This has to be challenged at a particular frame of reference. This has to be accepted at a particular frame of reference. From the past to the present and in future, we have witnessed change and are going to witness change. We have adapted ourselves to this particular situation. Right? So, whenever we are talking of this adaptation, so how do I take the things from the past to the present and to the future? That's the point. Do I need to modify the process, magnify the process, or minify the process? Right? Do I need to add features to my existing product line or subtract features? Right? Does it mean that I'll have a short-term game plan or a long-term process? Right? Maybe, like in terms of weight, do I need my products to be lighter in weight or heavier in weight? All of those sort of things should be asked before we move for the productivity, right? Putting to other uses. Traditionally, we use a particular sort of product in a particular way. But is there an alternate way of using that particular product? We need to understand that. So based on that insight, we can think of creativity. Eliminating or reducing the features, maybe processes, to have completely different approach to the process itself. Right? Sometimes we are going to rearrange or reverse that particular processes. So can there be interchanging of processes? Interchanging of processes. Right? One process can be interchanged with the other. So answering these questions will enable the employees of the organization to go for higher productivity. So creativity, innovative approaches, all of those things can be fostered by this one. Other techniques, like we are talking of this attribute listing itself, right? So whenever we are talking of attribute or quality of something that is applied, the same quality being attributed to other things, right? Or a different quality attributed to same thing. Whatever characteristics we do have, that particular thing may lead to the other products. So can I have those characteristics in other products, or I can think of other characteristics in my existing product. So that is what will lead to, creativity. Sometimes we do talk of this checkboard method, where we are talking of attributing the various problem dimensions in terms of a matrix itself. So problem dimensions are listed in the axis of this matrix, and gradually you need to find out that. Yeah. We are talking of this, retroduction, and this is a complete change of the assumption itself. Assumptions that we make could be right or could be wrong, but even if it is right, this method can enable us to have new perspectives to the things itself. Right? That is how we understand. So these are the four such methods by which organizations can create or build creativity in their organization, like having a venture team, particular team for that. Idea championship means a member will be responsible for that. Entrepreneurship is how we can, take up the characteristics of the small organizations and apply that. And creativity and diversity are the ways. So let us end up our journey over here. And thank you very much for your involvement in the particular process. I hope this advanced strategic management journey would have helped you to understand the core concepts of the organizations. So thank you very much. Have a good day.